Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 10.1.7 goes live on September 5th, so we don't have too much longer to get ready for the patch. There are new events, returning events, lots of updates for things like holidays, and of course we're going to have a good chunk of new content to round out Season 2 of Dragonflight. There are some key things I would get done before the patch goes live, and quite a few things that I would actually wait on if you're looking to maximize your time and get ready for the patch in the most efficient way possible. So let's go over everything to do before patch 10.1.7 goes live, as well as some things which might not be worth your time. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing you might want to look into doing before the patch goes live is catch up on story content. We know that 10.1.7 will include new story and quests to work through, and if 10.07 is anything to go by, it should actually be the first chapter of the new seasonal storyline. That means we're taking a big step forward and we're setting up the next 6 to 9 months of story content, which will also probably lead up to the 10.2 raid and where we go from there. We already know that the new world tree is going to be important thanks to the cinematic after you complete the Dawn of the Infinite Mega Dungeon, and from the patch poster preview it's safe to say that Tia is going to be involved here as well. The only problem with these two major story points is that you might not have actually gotten around to them in the live game. The world tree thing might have just popped up out of nowhere for you, and you might be asking yourself, well, who is this Tia chap? The reason you might not have seen these questlines progress is because they are tied to the Valdrakken renown. At Renown 12, the Silver Purpose quest is unlocked, and that one culminates in the reforging of Tia with a fancy little cinematic, and then at Renown 19, the Gardener's Secrets questline is unlocked, and this one deals with the new World Tree seed and how we're going to need to protect it, and the World Tree it will eventually become. With the story in 10.1.7 picking up those plot points and moving those storylines forward, there are two potential problems. These quest lines might be required to actually start the 10.1.7 stuff. We don't have a solid answer on that just yet, and then the other problem is context. If you haven't done these quests and you don't know about the seed or Tia or how they even relate to one another, then the new story might not make sense, or you might not have as good an experience as you could have if you had all of the pieces of the story and all of the right context. Now before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Displate. Displates are high quality designs printed on metal with over 1 million different designs to choose from, and they are constantly adding more. The variety is staggering, from video games, TV shows and anime to animals, landscapes and nature shots. There's something for everyone. The unique magnet mounting system makes hanging your displates a breeze. Simply wipe down the wall with the provided clean wipe, slap on the protective leaf, stick the magnet right in the middle, and you're good to go. There's no drilling, so your walls stay safe, making it a great option if you're renting. You can also reposition or swap out your displates in seconds. Just pop one set off and pop another one on. It's so easy to change the vibe of your room, like when you're getting ready for a new game release. You're going to know you have something special as soon as you open these up. They look amazing right out of the box, and you can even keep the box to safely stow away any unused displates when you want to switch things around. So use the link in the description or our discount code on screen and you'll get 22% off 1 or more displates and 33% off 3 or more displates, so it's a great time to find some perfect displates to decorate your space in style. Now getting back to the video, we don't know if these renown ranks and questlines are a hard requirement to start the new story content in 10.1.7. I don't think we've had any major storylines or campaign quests locked behind renown requirements yet, right? There's obviously story stuff in there, there are certain systems or features locked behind renown, but I don't think main questlines have had any requirements so far in the expansion, except for, doing the previous main story chapters. Feel free to correct me on that if I'm wrong, but nothing immediately comes to mind. So needing Renown 19 to start the new story probably won't happen. That would also be pretty bad for returning or new players, so one more reason it probably won't happen. So they might not be required, but if you want to follow the story as it happens and get the full picture, I would recommend you get up to Renown 19 with Valdrakken and work through those quests before the patch goes live. If you're wanting to get your renown all caught up, remember that you can still take advantage of the envoy buffs over in the Forbidden Reach that'll give you a nice 10% bonus to whichever faction you want. Moving on, I would also recommend you check out the Kalimdor Cup event while it's still active. The timeline on this is much quicker than the patch release date though, because the event only runs until the 28th. You only have a couple days left. The event is super simple. While it's active, there are dragon riding races all throughout Kalimdor. Just check each zone and see if there's a checkered flag there. If there is, that's a dragon riding race. Each race has 3 modes: normal, advanced and reverse. You can get bronze, silver or gold timings for these races, and each colour medal will give you one of the new badge currency. So with 3 modes and up to 3 badges per mode, if you get gold, you can get 9 badges per race you complete. You can spend these badges at a vendor in Valdrakken who has some fun goodies and a transmog set. The main problem here is that there are only 16 races available in this event, if I remember correctly, which gives you a total of 144 badges you can earn in Kalimdor. That's not enough to buy everything from the vendor. You can do races on multiple characters to earn more badges and buy everything that way, but if you don't want to repeat the same races over and over again on different characters, we will have another chance to earn more badges in the Eastern Kingdoms Cup event. This one is part of 1017, and is basically the same thing but for the Eastern Kingdoms. So new races, more badges and the same vendor, but with extra options. I bet the same thing will happen with that event though. You won't be able to get enough badges from that event alone to buy everything from the vendor, so you have 2 main choices if you want this stuff. Do as much as you can now in the Kalimdor Cup, and then do as much as you can in the Eastern Kingdoms Cup to buy what you want, or you'll be stuck running races on multiple characters over and over again to get enough badges in either event. Not the most ideal situation in the world, but if you do some races now and some races later, that definitely sounds better to me. So I would encourage you to do as many races in the Kalimdor Cup as you can and earn as many badges as you can so you can buy whatever you want during the Eastern Kingdoms Cup later on. That's actually most of the stuff I would recommend doing before the patch goes live. We don't have too many must-get-done activities right now. A lot of the typical patch deadlines will be for the start of 10.2, but there are some things I would encourage you to wait on or ignore until the patch hits, because it's going to be so much easier with the new content in play. For example, I would definitely not put too much effort into gearing up right now. 10.17 is going to be a big catch-up patch, and that includes a lot of new gearing up options. There's a farmable currency that lets you buy bind on account item level 402 gear tokens, so you can use those to gear up on your ults or your main quickly if you're a bit behind in gear, so that's going to be nice. But then there's also a vendor that sells item level 415 gear. The currency you need for this one is more restricted, currently only about 1 token per week, which is really low in my opinion and should be opened up more, but you can also buy a wyrm crest with the same currency here, giving us easier access to upgrade materials. We'll have to wait and see how this turns out, whether they'll give us access to more of this token specifically, but either way we'll have easier ways to gear up in the new patch, so I wouldn't worry too much about gearing up ults, especially right now. That's not all though, we're also going to get another major gearing up advantage in the new patch with the Turbulent Timeways event. This is all but confirmed at this point, and the last time we saw it, which was during 10.07, it came with some special gearing up options. We should have 5 to 6 weeks of constant time walking events, which also means up to 6 weeks of weekly reward quests. Usually, time walking weekly quests reward normal raid loot, but during the Turbulent Timeways event that was bumped up to heroic raid loot. So we should be able to get up to 6 pieces of heroic raid loot basically for free in patch 10.17, which will definitely help you gear up and give you more reasons to get your hands on some wyrm crests to further upgrade that gear. So waiting to gear up is going to be so much better than trying to scrape together some upgrades right now. With that being said, if you want to kind of prepare yourself the best you can and get a little bit of an advantage for gearing up in the next patch, there is something you can do. The weekly vault is a curious reward system because it doesn't really reward you with much if you are a solo content player. You have to raid, do Mythic Plus or PvP to get anything in here, right? So what use is it for solo players at all? Well, you do have one option to fill up these rewards without really needing to group up, or at the very least, actively group up. If you queue into LFR, those boss kills count towards your weekly vault. The problem here is that LFR bosses just give you LFR loot in the vault. That's not too great. It's only item level 402 to 411. We'll be able to get that kind of gear super easily in 10.17 and it won't be random. And we'll have more options to get better gear too, so what's the point here? Well, if you kill 7 bosses, which shouldn't take too long in LFR, that's just 3 wings, you can split those up across the week too, which is great for players who only have short bursts of time to play, so it's not really a huge time investment, but if you kill 7 bosses, you can fill up that raid row. That will give you more options for some okay-ish gear, but that's not what we're interested in. Each reward slot that you unlock in the vault will also give you the option to pick 2 aspects token of merit coins. You can get up to 6 of these in the vault per week, so getting all 3 raid options unlocked will give you 6 coins at the bottom as an alternative reward. These coins can then be traded for various goodies, including half sparks of Shadow Flame, so if you want to use those to get some crafted gear you can, but the most powerful option, in my opinion, are the wyrm crests. You simply cannot get wyrm crests as a solo player doing solo content. This is one of your best options to get these crests to upgrade your gear up to 437. If you get 6 coins per week, you can get 3 wyrm crests per week, which will let you upgrade a few more items. We have a few weeks before the patch lands, so that's a few rounds of these weekly rewards you can get before the patch comes out, and gives you access to more wyrm crests and higher item level gear. It's a surprisingly powerful option for players who don't do group content that a lot of folks don't know about, and getting more wyrm crests will make the new gearing options in 10.17 even better. If you really want to take advantage of gearing up in the new patch, especially if you decide to get some extra wyrm crests to help you push up to item level 437, it would also be a good idea to save up your crests and flightstones just to make sure you have enough to work with when the patch goes live. Whether you pick up some extra 415 gear or some extra wyrm crests with these new events, you are going to need some flightstones and crests to get through all of those upgrading levels, so just something to think about. It might also be worth waiting to level up any ults that you still haven't gotten around to. Leveling in Dragonflight is kinda quick almost no matter what. The constant time walking we'll have in the Turbulent Timeways event is also going to be great for leveling. Not only are time walking dungeons really good and quick experience, but we're actually going to have a new experience buff to work with this time. The Distilled Knowledge of Timeways gives you a small experience bonus, but it can stack up to 10 times. If you get to that 10th stack, the buff actually changes and becomes even better, giving you 30% bonus experience while the buff lasts. You can also extend the buff by 1 hour by running a time walking dungeon up to a max of 5 hours, so you can keep the XP buff running constantly if you are doing time walking dungeons, which should also be one of the fastest ways to level anyway, so it's going to be a big old experience grinding circle which should let you level very quickly in 10.17. So if you want to level in the most efficient way possible before the next major patch of 10.2, the Turbulent Timeways event might be exactly what you're looking for, so you want to wait until 10.17 to take advantage of it. It's also worth noting that the Dream Surge events also provide a 25% bonus experience for the entire zone where the Dream Surge event is, so even if you don't want to spam time walking dungeons, leveling up in 10.17 is going to be faster, even in the outdoor world. But that's everything I would recommend you get done before 10.17 goes live, and some things I wouldn't waste my time with. So that's it for this video. What are you going to focus on in these last few weeks leading up to the patch's release? Is there anything that you think should be on this list that I didn't include? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.